So what about Lich, huh? He sure showed up in Fiona and Cake. He sure was strong, wasn't he? No, he wasn't. He wasn't really that strong. You can imagine, like, the people who thought he was, like, stronger than Golb or something, like, those delusional motherfuckers who really said, oh yeah, he's actually one of the strongest characters in the show, when it was pretty obvious that he's like a mid-tier character. It's so funny. But anyway, how strong is the Lich though? Well, his biggest strength isn't his physical power, because, as you know, as he said, he is beyond strength. His best attributes are actually his abilities. For example, how he can control fire, and how he can control radiation or produce radiation, as well as him being able to resurrect the dead and create his own army, or transform his body from liquid into solid, into gas, and being able to possess and transform the body of people. And basically, he never really dies. But there's also the fact that he has this mind control, mind manipulation ability, which is actually apparently messed up. It messes up Finn and Jake and Bubblegum and Fiona and Simon and Cake and a bunch of people. And Billy, for example, apparently never got hit by it because he was always beating Lich's ass. So that's interesting. But yeah, his abilities, his mind abilities, his survivability, his ability to never freaking die, just never go away. That's what makes him so strong. His abilities, like when he breathes on Prismo and Prismo freaking disintegrates and dies. Like, that's not an attack power type of ability, that's just death. You are dead. You died, bro. But let's get away from his abilities and get into his feats, because first of all, he is comparable to characters like Billy. He has fought him multiple times and they're both famous for fighting each other. And Billy is a character who has not only fought an ocean before, which is very impressive because that's like a continental amount of water, but also in the comics it's stated that he fought a solar system, which is insane. He fought a whole solar system with, presumably, his bare hands. Lich was also the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, which alone in real life it would be a gigantic, enormous impact that essentially killed 90-something% of the life on the planet or something, and destroyed like countries or continents amounts of, area. But also you have to keep in mind that in Adventure Time it also killed the elementals of that era. Elementals which were way more experienced and presumably powerful than the ones we have in regular Adventure Time period. Presumably stronger than characters like Flame Princess, who was going to destroy the world. She's strong enough that she can destroy the whole planet. Or stronger than people like Ice King with his crown, which is only an imitation of Evergreen's power, who in an alternate timeline was able to freeze the entire planet. And the Lich Catalyst Comet killed those people. So it's easily arguable that he's even stronger than those guys. And he's also stronger than those guys just in general in the show. Lich is a higher level of threat than characters like Flame Princess and Ice King, and he's easily able to defeat characters like Finn and Jake, especially in the earlier seasons, whereas Ice King and Flame Princess not only fight each other, but Finn and Jake beat Ice King all the time. After killing Prismo, which is a cosmic crime, but also doesn't make him as strong as Prismo, because he didn't kill the Prismo that is the Wishmaster, the one that can create and destroy universes. He killed his mortal body that is basically just some guy. So please stop using it as an argument that Lich is strong, that oh, he killed Prismo. No, he killed just some guy, a normal human, not the actual Wishmaster Prismo. But anyway, after he killed him, he's taken to the Citadel and imprisoned with a bunch of other cosmic criminals that he calls the Ancients. And among those criminals, there's one guy who basically destroyed the whole planet. And not only does Lich escape this prison, making him stronger than that guy, but also he even infects and mind controls that guy, just showing that his abilities work on people on that level, and also that he's stronger than the people on that level. In his first appearance in the comics, he has this bag that basically sucks in the entire of Earth. The whole planet is sucked into his bag. And this bag is strong enough to hold the whole planet. Not only that, but Finn and Jake break through it, and then Lich fights Finn and Jake. Meaning that Finn, Jake, and the Lich, in the comics at least, are strong enough to break to something that can hold a planet. And finally, to make everything consistent even beyond that, Lich and Sweet Pea, who is also the Lich, are stronger than Fern, who is basically Finn's arm. If you haven't watched Adventure Time, this would be a confusing thing, but the grass Finn is also Finn's arm, or was Finn's arm in the past, whatever. The point I'm getting at is that with this arm, Finn was able to murk Orgolorg. He was able to just do his ass like crazy. Orgolorg turned out to be a bitch when it comes to fighting Finn. So Fern, who's on par if not stronger than that, is weaker than Sweet Pea and Lich, and that's impressive because Orgolorg himself is known as the Destroyer of Worlds and is himself a cosmic entity and a primordial monster. So it's pretty fair to say that the Lich is like, at the very least planet level, but also there's some things that might suggest is like universe level, or at least some people might argue he's universe level. Because for example, in the comics, he creates this book, kind of, which has its own universe or universes within it, which means his magic can create universes. Also in the comics, Jake goes through the Big Bang and experiences the Big Bang, which you could argue is universal, right? But also Orgolorg, remember, he's a guy who existed before time and space and the universe itself, meaning that to be in the universe, he must have lived or been through the Big Bang as well. So people argue that because characters like Jake in the comics and presumably Orgolorg in the show have lived through the Big Bang, that they've technically tanked the Big Bang, so they're like universal. And in a comic, again, Tree Trunks mentions how Sweet Pea could destroy the universe, but this is Tree Trunks, so who knows why would you believe Tree Trunks? Like, who is she? Where does she get her information that he's strong enough to destroy the universe? But like, yeah, at the end of the day, normal Lich, I would say, like, his usual form is like at the very least planet level, because there's a bunch of planet level feats and stuff for Adventure Time characters. But there's also some arguments, if you look into both the comics and the show, to say that maybe he's universal. But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because his best abilities have nothing to do with just punching people. That's not where his strength comes from. His strength comes from his abilities, like manipulating fire, mind control, levitation, flying, possession, the fact that he can't freaking die. So at the end of the day, his quote-unquote attack potency, how some people would call it, doesn't matter that much. He is quote-unquote beyond strength. And he says he's beyond strength for a reason, because he acknowledges that Finn is strong, and he can be strong as much as he wants, but the Lich doesn't operate on that level. He doesn't operate on a I'm gonna beat you up with my punches level. He's more so like, I'm gonna mind control you, I'm gonna kill you with my breath, I'm gonna do something to you that's not necessarily even corporeal. I'm just gonna mess you up without punching you or anything. That's his strength. So again, those like attack potency, destructive capacity, whatever, blah, 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 the fucking versus battle wiki buzzwords don't really matter to him. But also, let's talk about his strongest form we've seen. If I remember correctly, unless I'm misremembering or not remembering something, his strongest form is when he tricks New Death into basically giving himself away to the Lich up until the Lich can actually possess his whole body. And this is the strongest version of the Lich because New Death and Death in general is, yes, stronger than the Lich. I'm sorry, I'm gonna make a video about it, but yeah, Death is able to create and destroy 50 dead worlds. But let's backtrack a little. As I said in my previous videos, 4 Undertakers are able to destroy a dead world, which is essentially a universe. Death can one-shot those Undertakers easily. Not only that, but New Death was able to take all the dead worlds that remained, like maybe like 30 or 20 of them, and essentially reality warp them back to one of them, basically destroying the rest. And if that's not enough for you, when Mr. Fox becomes dead, he restores all 50 of them with a wave of his hand. Meaning that Death itself is like multi-universal or multiversal. And Lich having the power of Death makes him that strong. He even says that with this vessel, his victory is inevitable. Meaning that this vessel is stronger than everything he had before, like, you know, Billy, Jake, Princess Bubblegum, and just anything he's ever been before. He was like, yeah, now it's over, I'm gonna fuck you up. But anyway, what I'm gonna say is that the Lich himself usually should be plant level. Maybe you could argue he's like universal, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because his power lies within his abilities of possession, death manipulation, radiation, mind control, etc. But also, when he has New Death as his vessel, he's actually multiversal. He's actually way stronger than he was before. However, if you ask me in Adventure Time, within the universe of Adventure Time, how strong he would be, I would say he is weaker than Life and Death, but stronger than Orgalorg or maybe even Glob. And he's probably stronger than Finn and Jake were in Come Along With Me even, but he's probably weaker than how strong they were in Together Again. So I don't know, I would place Lich like in the middle of the tier list. If there was an Adventure Time tier list, the boss is at the top, and at the bottom, I don't know, you have like Bimo or something. He would be like right there with characters like Finn, Jake, Orgalorg, Glob, Marceline, and etc. But again, his hex abilities could make him take over or kill even stronger opponents possibly. But also, before I finish the video, I want to mention some misconceptions people have about the Lich. First of all, no, he's not a primordial. That's never stated. There's no evidence for that. The only evidence people bring up is the fact that he knows about the primordials. But knowing about the primordial monsters doesn't make him a primordial monster. Knowing about something doesn't make you it. So no, there's no evidence in that. Another thing people bring up is the fact that Hanson Abadir mentions how Lich is a rival of his. But that's taken completely out of context. What he is referring to is that there are rivals in destroying U. It's literally there. Just read it. He says it on the page. And in the same book, he mentions how he would be able to break his bone-ass body very easily. He would be able to beat his ass. So saying that, oh, Hanson Abadir considers him a rival in terms of strength doesn't make any sense. Not only is he referring in context to a rivalry to destroy U, but also he literally mentions how he would beat his ass in the same book. So no, he's not as strong as Hanson. They're not like rivals like Naruto and Sasuke or something. So yeah, anyway, bye.